Warning: this episode includes discussion of domestic violence and self-harm that may be distressing for some listeners. Listener discretion is advised. This is a special episode featuring a recovering addict. Hi, my name is Sophie X. I'm the host and producer of the Voices of Recovery podcast. I'm joined here today by Stacy. Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Sophie.
Good to see you again, babe.
You too.
It's been a minute and it's gonna be a minute because you're heading out of New York.
I am. I'm heading to South Carolina.
I'm so excited for your new beginnings.
Thank you.
And you are our reader for the middle of February for the Just for Today and for This Bad. Thank you so much for your service.
Oh, thank you very much for asking.
Of course. And actually, coincidentally, the theme of this month is service and recovery. And I met Stacy on the 24/7 platform while she was doing service. This girl is always on this 24/7 meeting. There are many times where she's not hosting, where I have just taken a burning desire or shared a struggle, and she'll text me just to check in. And, that consistency is very helpful to a
Yes.
person like myself. So thank you for your recovery and thank you for your service in general.
You're welcome. Thank you for your service too.
So speaking of our theme of service and recovery, I wanted to know a little bit more about why you do service, why you serve on the 24/7 platform, because it seems that you really like virtual meetings.
I do.
A little bit about your story about how that meeting helped save your life, essentially.
And that meeting has definitely saved my life. And I will always say that 247. That night, I needed a meeting. I needed to hear somebody share a little bit of hope. And that's what I got from the meeting. So, a little bit about me. I used for a little over 30 years, actually. I started when I was 14, ended when I was 44. I realized I had a problem in 2012. And I immediately went to go to a doctor that had medicated assisted treatment because that was all I knew back at that point. They wanted me to go to an inpatient, but I had two young kids. I could not do that. Luckily, I was on Suboxone for 2 years. After the 2 years was up, I tried to get off of it and I couldn't. So I ended up going to an inpatient program and then a rehab in Florida. That was my first introduction to what recovery was all about. But I learned a lot. Like, everybody's different. Everybody's story is different. Everybody's recovery is different. To me, I find it fascinating. And I think that's why I am in the career field that I'm in today in recovery.
And it's a very individualized journey, but also the circumstances, right, that lead us to our bottom.
Yeah.
And the way that we dig ourselves out.
My bottom was my bottom, but felt like the end of the world for me. Starting in 2016, I was in a marriage for 26 years. And about 2016, it started to get physical. But due to my addiction, nobody believed me. So it went on behind closed doors. No marks were left. When I did try to tell somebody, they looked at me, being the person having the addiction problem, as a liar. So they stigmatized me. May 29th of 2020, I was at my lowest point. I was in an outpatient program that wanted me to go inpatient because I toxed dirty 3 times.
And this is also in the height of COVID, right?
This is all in the height of COVID. All in the height of COVID. They wanted me to go inpatient again, and I just knew I could not deal with another inpatient. I had already been to 5 of them. I didn't want to go back. I ended up standing at the top of my stairs. What happened before that, let me just, go back and say, that night I had a fight with my daughter. And the fight, we were in each other's faces. I had enough of her disrespect. She obviously did not respect me because of my behavior.
Teenage angst, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And mom is using.
Yeah.
So we're just pissed at the world.
Yes, we are.
Mom is in another world.
Yes, mom was in another world that night. Before I knew it, my now ex-husband, at the time my husband, put his hands around my neck and choked me to the floor. And I remember saying to him in that moment, you better choke me harder. Because something empowered me that day. Something, I can't tell you what. As I went down to the ground, I looked in his eyes, and his eyes were black. And I just looked at him. And for the first time, I talked back to him. And I just looked at him and said, that was the worst mistake you could have ever done in our marriage. Now, I was given a Zoom address to get onto a 24-hour, 7-day a week meeting. Before I jumped on, I was at the end. I stood at the top of my stairs and I looked down it and I wanted to break my neck. And I thought, if I just go down these stairs, I'll die. And I went down the stairs. I didn't die. But the worst case about it is I went back to the top of the stairs and I did it again.
Really intent on hurting yourself.
Absolutely.
Suicidal tendency.
Absolutely. 100%. I did not want to live anymore.
Next step sounds like it's going to be the psych ward.
Yes. And thank God I've only been to 2 psych wards. So we don't want to go back to that either.
Only 2.
So we don't want to go back to that direction. But again, the outpatient gave me the Zoom address. And for some reason, I hopped on that night.
That's amazing that the outpatient facility knew about that meeting.
Yeah.
Because that meeting was pretty much just getting started.
Yeah.
We actually just heard from Big Mike, who helped start that meeting.
Yes.
That's around the time that that started
Yeah.
in March 2020.
Yeah.
So the fact that your outpatient knew about this 24/7 platform is wild to me.
It is.
What a small world. So you got on right as it started.
Yes, I did. I just jumped on, and there was a woman that shared her story with me. That night, I heard something that I don't think I've heard in years, maybe even decades. I heard a little hope that if this woman could do this and get herself clean, why can't I? And with a little bit of that hope, I got her phone number. I called her because that was one of the suggestions that was in the beginning of this meeting. And I got her phone number. I called her. She stayed on the phone with me for 8 hours until I couldn't speak anymore because the withdrawals were so bad. For 5 days after that, I stayed on 247 with my camera on and went through all my withdrawals through opiate use. And
Camera
I
on,
camera on,
vomiting,
vomiting,
pooping,
crapping myself. Like
shaking,
it was bad. I was shaking.
snot.
Oh, it was a mess.
Oh,
I was a mess. I was
camera
falling on the
on.
floor.
Because you can hide, but this approach is completely different. Why did you keep your camera on?
If I turned it off, I was going to die. I was surely going to die.
So it kept you alive.
It did. It did. It kept me alive. Then I listened to everything that meeting had to say. In the beginning of that meeting, there's suggestions, and it said get a home group. So I got a home group immediately. It was May 29th of 2020. I jumped onto that meeting, and by June 1st, I had a home group. They said to get in service, and that home group happened to say you do key tags and taught me how to do key tags.
That's right. In the beginning, they used to do key tags.
Yes. So I learned how to do key tags. And that was my commitment because it says to get a commitment. So that was my first commitment, was doing key tags. I ended up getting a sponsor, and I'm blessed to say that woman who spoke that night that saved my life became my sponsor.
Also named Stacy.
Also named Stacy. Spelled the same way. We're a
Also
year
Stacy,
apart.
also the same last initial. So
Yes.
you guys are both. Are you the same person?
I don't know. Our birthdays are 2 weeks apart. Like we've got a lot of things in common.
Sounds like it's meant to be.
It really was for that time of my life. It was meant to be because I didn't know who I was. I was broken. I was in a very abusive marriage, where obviously, like I explained, the physical abuse was there, but the emotional, the verbal, the spiritual, financial, all abuse was there. I didn't know who I was. All I knew is I was someone's wife and a mother, and I listened to what they said and I obeyed.
And you were also trapped, it sounds like.
I was not allowed to go to work, and I was not allowed to leave the house without his permission. It had gotten so bad that he put cameras up around the interior of the house and the exterior of the house.
I would have been using drugs too, girl.
Yeah, yeah.
To cope. That sounds like a terrible,
It
terrible.
was
Domestic
miserable.
violence is. I'm sorry that you went through that. That's devastating. And knowing you as long as I have, I know this part of your story.
Yeah,
But being able to share it with people who you don't know is very empowering, just to tell them that, you're not alone.
yeah. And that's my biggest thing. I want people to know they're not alone, that there is help out there. And for me, my help came after a relapse. I got 2 years and I ended up relapsing after a huge fight I had with my ex husband.
What led to your relapse? Because the relapse just
Exactly.
doesn't just happen, right? It
I
creeps.
was, I was miserable in my marriage. I wanted out. He had already choked me out. There were guns in the house. I wanted to get out, but it wasn't going fast enough. So I got depressed. And I, like they say, the relapse happens, right? Before the relapse actually physically happens. I felt it. I stopped going to so many meetings. I stopped doing enough service. I stepped away from my family in NA. I didn't know how to find my way back. And I felt like I was put in a corner that one day in July, and I ended up using. And for me, thankful, I have a beautiful network in this fellowship. My friends came and picked me up. They stayed with me till I was a little bit more awake, and they took me and dropped me off at another rehab. So I was there for a couple of days in detox and got back out. My life changed after that. I knew I needed to leave my house. I knew I needed to get myself back in recovery. I needed to get into service immediately. I needed to connect with my friends. They were my lifeline. They saved my life too. They were there with me from the beginning. From that point on, I ended up getting another sponsor. And she, I feel, saved this other part of my life, the abusive part. Because one day she picked me up for lunch and instead she dropped me off at a domestic violence location.
Mm, mm.
And she sat there and held my hand while I told this counselor my story. The feeling of not being alone was what I needed at that moment in time. I needed to know that other people were going through this as well. From there, I became empowered. I got back into service. I became a co host and a host again. So I jumped right back on, started up doing key tags. I went right back to the beginning. Total basic skills. Like I'm a brand new newcomer. Forget what I've learned. I am new. Teach me. And that is what everyone did. They embraced me. They loved me. They held me up because I couldn't hold my own self up.
It sounds like they protected you too a bit
Yes, they
and
did.
kind of really stood behind you as you redirected your life.
Yes. And that's what I did. I redirected my entire life. I went back to school to get into this field. I became a peer recovery advocate, ended up going to domestic violence classes and also seeking a trauma therapist. I got all the help I needed from everybody,
All while in recovery,
all while in recovery.
with the support of recovering addicts.
Absolutely, 100%, because they, again, were my lifeline. Um, and yeah, in 2024, I was able to finally leave my home and go out on my own for the first time. And then 3 months later, I was divorced. And I had to learn what it was like to be Stacy. And let me tell you, that's very fearful.
We talk about how we have to learn who we are without the drugs.
Yeah,
Try having to learn who you are without the drugs and without the person who shaped your identity for so long, right? Because you're talking about being a wife, a mother, all these things, these titles that are put on top of Stacy. So you
correct.
have to reacquaint yourself with yourself.
Yeah. I didn't know who I was. I had a name. My name is Stacy. That's all I knew. That's it. So I had to learn how to do things on my own, go places on my own. I mean, as simply as going food shopping. I've never been food shopping on my own, ever.
That sounds like an incredibly controlling and scary relationship that you were in.
It was.
I'm so sorry that you went through that.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry. But thankfully, you didn't go through it alone.
No, I found other people that had shared their story with me that, had domestic violence, stories with addiction.
Well, you shared that very openly on the platform.
Yes, I have.
I remember calling you and telling you about my bout with domestic violence
Yes.
and just how I moved out, right? I got out.
Yeah.
And you were right at that same stage where you were moving out.
Yes. Yes, I was.
And it's only because you shared openly that you got the help that you needed, I think. Because you were sharing about it all the time.
Yes. I was scared. I was frightened. I've been with this man for 26 years. I knew nothing but this man. I was fearful of the unknown. I didn't know what I was to expect. But I knew from the help of my friends in NA, I did not want to be where I was at that place. I would rather take the fear of the unknown and go for it than to stay and deal with consequences that I was dealing with.
It sounds like you just changed your life. And it sounds like recovery was an absolute choice that just made everything else that didn't fit into recovery fall by the wayside.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So talk about how service saved your life.
Service saved my life because, like I said, in the beginning of my recovery, they had me do key tags. And for the first time, I felt a part of. I felt like somebody depended on me. Granted, I'm a mom, but it was a different type of accountability for myself. That's what it was. It was the accountability I was giving myself. I did not have any of that before I got into recovery. Every day, I would come back and people would greet me and say hi. I felt a part of. When I kept doing my service positions, 6 months would go and I would be able to get another service commitment. So I was able to do stuff differently. I immediately jumped into area service. By that time, meetings were starting to open up. I became a part of E&A, events and activities. I became a part of the helpline. I was hospitality in the convention committee. I was also assistant secretary for Suffolk area.
Wow.
And I was doing 247. I was hosting 7 days a week. And I was also doing key tags and GSR for my home group.
So you not only did local service, but you did area level service.
Yes, I did.
You're hosting these meetings that you once used to sit on. You're a person who was withdrawing
Yeah.
on camera, and now you're reading the intro.
Yes.
What a miracle. What a
It's
miracle.
beautiful.
I met you when you were chairing, and if I'm not mistaken, you heard me struggling and you gave me your number on your own accord. You're like, please
Yes.
take my number. And then I saw your area code. I'm like, you're from Long Island? What?
Yep.
I was trying to coax you forever to come to my home group. You did finally come to my
Yes, I
home group.
did.
I think you came to my first anniversary, didn't
I
you?
certainly
You
did. I
certainly
was there.
did.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, you did. You came to my first anniversary. You know, that makes the newcomer feel really special when a person comes off of the screen and into the room for you. It was very meaningful to me. And just knowing that by the time this episode airs, you're going to be gone already, girl.
I am, but I'll be listening.
Yeah, you'll be listening. You'll be in a different stage of your life. So I really wanted to get you on here before you did do that because I admire your service. I admire your commitment to the program and the way that you practice your recovery. And having relapse be part of your story, you speak to an entirely different demographic.
Yeah. Yes.
You
Yeah.
speak to a much wider audience. And
Yes.
also, we listen more to you because you know what it's like to relapse. You tell us the signs, like, watch this. If you don't go to meetings, if you drop your service commitment, blah, 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 blah. All that's pretty scary.
It is scary. That relapse strengthened my recovery and lit a fire under my butt to start giving back. I needed that. I needed to give back to other people. And I love this field. I love addiction. Right now in school for my bachelor's, I got an Oasis scholarship from New York State from Oasis to go to school for my bachelor's in addiction studies. And I'm moving to South Carolina to start my master's in social work.
That's amazing. So you went from having no education to having a bachelor's degree and moving towards a master's,
Yes,
all in recovery. The
absolutely.
gifts of recovery. And your substance abuse counselor. Like,
Yeah,
that's crazy. You're accruing hours to be able to do this independently. That's crazy to me. A miracle.
it's my miracle. Yes, it
From a
is.
woman who was prisoner in her home, unable to do anything, zero independence, to a woman who said, you know what? I'm moving out. I remember when you moved into this apartment
Mm-hmm.
and you were sharing with me, you're like, I don't know how to be alone.
Yes.
I don't know how to be alone. I don't know how to, I've never lived alone like this, especially after all those years of having children running around, a husband in the house. Now you're here. I'm sitting in this apartment right now, by the way. It's an adorable apartment.
Thank you.
And you did that.
Yes.
You helped yourself. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
And I think a lot of women hearing this will be just as proud of you because it takes bravery to do that.
Yes, it does.
It really does. So tell me how you remember the first time that you used and why you used. Take me back to little Stacy.
I was 14 when I first picked up. I was curious. My friends were doing it. So I wanted to do it.
Peer pressure.
Yep. I was totally, the peer pressure was going on and I fell for it. People pleaser I am. So I immediately fell for it. So I remember having my first drink and smoking, marijuana. And I liked getting out of myself. I always felt I was off. I was different. I was more hyperactive. I was a little bit out there, but I was so positive and bubbly and full of life. And
Still are, I'm just saying.
I try to be. I try to be. They calmed me down. They made me feel normal
The drugs.
almost.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, the
They
drugs
leveled
calmed
you
me
out.
down.
Kind of like a self-medication
Yes,
situation.
absolutely. I did a lot of self medicating by what I've used. For me, my history went quick and fast. By the time I was 15 years old, I was doing heroin.
Oh my gosh, that's a quick escalation, my friend.
It
I'm
was.
sure that you were smoking pot beforehand, right? You're like
Yeah,
smoking
no,
pot,
I had my first
having
taste of
some
marijuana.
alcohol,
I had my first taste of LSD.
and then you jump to heroin?
Yes.
God.
Yeah. You know what? Back then, it was all about don't smoke crack. So
Crack is whack, but you can do
crack is
some
whack.
heroin? Oh
Yes.
God.
So we knew not to do crack, but even though I knew what I was doing was wrong, a part of me, it was exciting. It felt defiant. And I knew my parents would not be happy with it.
Whose parents are gonna be like, you
I,
smoke?
no
You're doing
way.
heroin? Daughter, thank you so much for taking our loving example
And I
and
did. I turned into a different person. I turned into this person that I was not going to school. I was running away. At one point, I ran away to Pennsylvania.
as a teenager,
15 years
I would
old.
have beat your ass,
Oh,
Stacy. I would have beat your
what my
ass.
parents did was put me in a detention place for bad girls.
Wow. She went into a bad girl
I
school.
went to a bad girl school for 45 days,
Wow.
and the judge was going to keep me there for 18 months. And I turned around and I just said, I wish you could love me, Daddy.
Oh.
And my dad turned around and said to me, only 2 times he said, I love you. And that was one of them.
Mm,
He said, but I do love you.
mm.
And the judge had sympathy for us and said, you're on probation till you're 18. That's what I did until I was 18 years old. I was on probation. And I will say, listen, I was very manipulative. I knew when she was coming. I knew when I was going to get drug tested. So I knew I could do this or do that without it being in my system by the time she came. So I didn't really learn that much of a lesson, but by the time I was 17, I had kidney stones and nobody knew what that was because
Mm.
I was so young to have kidney stones at
Right.
that age.
I wonder if it was
Um
because you were using heroin.
yes, I don't know. It could be. It could definitely be.
Because you were
Um
abusing your little body. Oh my
I
God.
was. They handed me a bottle of pills and it was off to the races
Opiates.
until I
Oh
was
no.
44 years old. I used opiates. I was able to get it everywhere. I even got a hold of, at one point, a script pad. I was making my own. But again, I felt normal. I felt like I had some normalcy in my life. I wasn't so hyper and I wasn't so low. Like, I just felt like I was in the middle of everything.
Did you ever have like a psych eval?
I did. At the age of 16, I was diagnosed with bipolar.
That makes a
Um,
lot of sense, actually.
uh
Now,
huh.
in context, thank you for giving me that very vital context.
Yes. But I was not medicated because my parents didn't want to believe in a diagnosis or
Ah,
that it could be medicated. I was diagnosed with that and ADHD.
and one of the classic symptoms of bipolar is risky behavior.
Absolutely. Promiscuous, the risky behavior, the impulsivity, very much so.
Recipe for disaster
Yeah.
if you have other drugs in front of you, right?
Yes.
Could have been medicated and stabilized, but instead you were trying to self-medicate.
Yes.
Because you're talking about not feeling too high, not feeling too low. That sounds like bipolar, and you definitely needed to be medicated.
Oh, absolutely. 100%. I didn't get medicated until I was 35 years old.
Oh my God, that's insane.
Very much insane. I lived with this and it was absolutely
It's a
craziness.
miracle you didn't kill yourself because a lot of people
Yeah.
who are undiagnosed bipolar will attempt suicide.
Yes.
It's a
And
miracle
I
that you didn't
have.
kill yourself.
Yeah.
or do something to get yourself killed, right?
Yeah.
Like just driving erratically,
My
for
That's
instance.
the first indication something's wrong with me.
Mm.
I start driving like a mad woman, swerving in and out of cars, and
Mm. Trying to make sure that our meds are good.
exactly. I have my little bipolar rage, I call it, every spring.
The
So,
flowers are blooming. Get the fuck out of my way.
yes, I need to go somewhere, not here, but I need to go run in the forest or something.
Mm-hmm.
So, gotta get all that energy out.
And so you turn to using to balance yourself. How did you get from being an unruly teenager in the Bad Girls Club to being in the marriage that you were in?
It's kind of a funny story. I was actually dating somebody for about 4 years. I was at a New Year's Eve party. At that point, met my husband. We were actually picking up marijuana off the floor somebody had dropped.
Oops.
And he was
We've all
picking
been
up
there.
his trail.
We've all been there.
Yep. I'm picking up my trail, and we bumped heads.
This is so Lady and the Tramp.
Oh, yes. Very much so. Very much so. And he swept me off my feet. I left that boyfriend just for him. I moved in with him in a month, and I was in love. Like I wanted to spend the rest of my life with this man. And
Do you know what love bombing is?
yes, I know what it is now.
Now you know what it is.
I
Classic
do.
narcissistic
Yes.
behavior.
Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely. He's a narcissist through and through. And it's just also his upbringing, too. He was the only man in an Italian household.
Mm,
So he could do no wrong.
he's the prince.
He was the prince and he got whatever he wanted.
Dangerous,
Very dangerous.
especially for a narcissist.
Yes. Next thing you know, the day we got engaged was Christmas of '99. That day, my daughter was conceived. I found out I was pregnant 4 months later, and then we got married.
Bam, bam. Thank you, ma'am.
Yep, just like that. The proposal was a very big surprise for me. My family knew before I did. I was a little upset about that because as he was proposing to me, I saw people's blinds moving and I felt obligated.
Pressured.
People pleaser I am, right? I felt the pressure. I knew he had already asked my dad for my hand. I felt like I had to say yes.
Mm, that people pleasing behavior will get you, girl.
Yes, and it did. We got married April 14th of 2000. I had my daughter September 19th of 2000. By 2002, things were off. He had his own addictions. I played a very pretty part in that, being the fact that I was using. I played a part of things that he wanted me to be a part of. They weren't pretty. I wanted to use, and he allowed me to use while being in those situations. But I believe in marriage. We both did not believe in divorce. In my family, divorce was really not an option. So I knew I was stuck.
Trapped.
Yeah, strapped.
So how did recovery unlock the chains?
My sponsors.
Mm.
My first sponsor, Stacy, she was independent, strong woman. Was not married, did not have any kids, but lived on her own. Total opposite from me, right? But I needed that independence. She
Mm.
taught me. She taught me how to put makeup on. I wasn't even allowed to wear makeup. So she taught me how to buy makeup, how to put makeup on. She YouTubed it. She taught me how to dress better. And then my current sponsor, Cassie, strong, independent woman, not married, does not have kids, stands on her own 2 feet, lives, has moved. She actually just packed up and moved to Albany for a job. And I thought that was so brave of her to leave everything and not know much up there, but the NA community.
The power of example, my friend. The power of
Yes.
example. When somebody does something in front of you and you just witness it, you're just like, wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, that NA community does not matter where you move. I mean, by the time this airs, I hope you have a home group down there.
Me too.
Aside from your 24/7 group, I hope that you have people around there, your NA family, right? Like wherever we go, we can just walk into an NA meeting and we belong.
Yeah.
That's got to be the most comforting thing, knowing that you're doesn't matter where you go, you're gonna find NA. NA is
Yes.
gonna be there for you. We're so lucky to have this fellowship.
We are really lucky, and I feel so blessed to have found NA when I did at the lowest point of my life because it saved my life. It really did.
And we have this 24/7 platform, of course, right?
Yes.
I'll get to see your beautiful face while you're away.
Every Friday morning at 7 a.m.
Yeah,
I will be
girl.
there.
Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for the way that you serve this program. And thank you for being on the podcast. And, this woman is moving people. This woman has no time and she made time. You know what I'm saying? That's the act of service. That's what we do in NA.
Absolutely. Give back what was freely given to us.
Yeah. I think that your story will help a lot of women realize that they too do not have to be stuck in an abusive relationship. They too can rely on their support network to get themselves out. And they too can free themselves from the chains of addiction.
Absolutely. They really can. It's possible. I mean, 26 years is a hard time to leave, and but I did it. And I didn't do it alone. I did it with the help of NA and with the help of outside help. But NA was my foundation, my rock.
NA, it used to be Nassau Area Narcotics Anonymous.
Yep.
But now it's Never Alone, Never Again.
Yes, it is.
And how apt of a title is that? Because you really were not alone. You didn't withdraw alone. You didn't get divorced alone. You didn't move into this apartment alone. You always had another addict listening in, helping you, holding your virtual hand.
And the great thing about the platform, 24/7, when I was going through my divorce, I raised my hand and I said, I'm going through a divorce and recovery and I don't want to relapse. Somebody help me. And so many women came out of the woodwork and just helped me, guided me, step by step of what I was going to feel and what I was going to experience. And I'm forever grateful for them. I made a whole big family of women that were willing to help me.
What we can't do alone, we do together.
Absolutely.
That's the truth. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for being on this podcast. Thank you for doing the readings. Thank you for taking time out of your moving. I mean, you are moving in literally 10 days,
I
right?
know, I
Oh my
am.
gosh, this is insane. I love you.
I love you too.
Thank you so much for being my friend. Thank you for your service. The NANA 24/7 meeting has not stopped for 5 years at this point. This is being recorded in 2025. It'll be 2026 by the time we hear this. And this platform has been going for so long, nearly 6 years. It's because of people like you that it's able to survive. Thank you for your service. Thank you for reaching out to me when I was struggling. You met me when I was in the wheelchair.
Yes,
remember?
You were.
And I would turn my camera on whenever I had the unmute button.
Yes, yes.
And I would turn it on and I'd be like, hey, I'm still here. Hey, I'm still not using. I'm struggling, but I'm here.
And look at you now.
And look at me now.
Yeah. Growth. We've seen the growth in each other and it's amazing.
Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for your recovery. Thank you for sharing your recovery. I love you so much, Stacy.
I love you too. Thank you for asking me to do this. I needed to do some service, before I left, and this was a great way to do it.
Absolutely. Best of luck in your new adventure.
Thank you.
I'm so excited.
Yes.
I love you.
I love you too.
The Voices of Recovery podcast is an independent production of the Works of Wisdom. We welcome your questions and donations via PayPal at voicesofrecoverypod@gmail.com. This podcast is an independent production and is not affiliated with, associated with, authorized by, endorsed by, or in any way officially connected with Narcotics Anonymous or any of its subsidiaries or affiliates. While NA literature may be read during episodes for the purpose of supporting recovery, such use does not constitute an official endorsement or representation by Narcotics Anonymous. In accordance with NA tradition, the NA name is not to be used to endorse or be affiliated with any outside enterprise, and no such endorsement or affiliation is by Sage. Thanks for listening to the Voices of Recovery podcast.